This has got to be one of the best scooters I've seen for less than 700 bucks. You've got a top speed surpassing 30 miles per hour.
Let's go!
It's got one of the best hill climbing abilities that I've seen for a single motor entry-level scooter. You got Segway quality ride and feel with the dual suspension. Also can be a trampoline for your kids. And some built-in tech that you really only see in more expensive scooters. This is the Cunfon Rz 800, and truly, I am legit blown away by what you get for the price. Most of you guys, like me, probably have never heard of these guys. I didn't hear about them until a couple weeks ago when they emailed me, but I'm glad they reached out, and I think you'll be glad that you're watching this video because they've raised the bar for entry-level scooters, and they raised it very, very high. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the first bar they raised, and that has to deal with power and speed. All over the last 5 years of reviewing a bunch of different types of scooters, and a lot in this price range, the typical motor size is anywhere from 300 to 500 watts. Take a little look-see right here. That right there is a 1200 watt motor. Now, before I show you how fast that can go, I wanna talk about the speed modes. On the left side, there's the control panel. I'll talk about these things later on in the review, but right here is the M button. And then you got 4 modes. The first one is park mode, second one is eco, then sports, and race. Makes my heart just race thinking about it. And then on the right side, you got a thumb throttle. So I've got a flat stretch of trail here. I'm gonna back it up on race mode and see if we can hit over 30 miles an hour. Here we go.
Yeah, 31 miles an hour.
I don't know if you caught that, but that was 31 miles an hour. Yes! I've never even come close to going that fast for that price. Check that out. It's got a cool little light that goes back and forth. A little bit ashamed that I didn't realize that until now. I gotta get set again, hold on. And action. The second bar that these guys raised is hill climbing ability. Most entry-level scooters would have a tough time making it up a 15% grade, but not this one. By the time I reached the top, I was hitting 13 miles per hour. Now they say it can climb up to a 25%. I think that's pushing it a little bit. Well, if you're as heavy as me, I'm 180 pounds. I could go steeper than a 15%, but 25 is pretty dang steep. Any 25% grade hills out here? No, go away. Don't climb us. Guess not. So let's talk about the third bar they raised, and that has to do with range. Well, in the deck below me, you got a 48 volt, 18 amp hour battery. In case you're wondering, that's actually a very large battery for a $700 scooter. Anyways, it takes 4 to 6 hours for a full charge, and they say you can get up to 50 miles. Now, the other day I did a short range test. I did 10 miles. I had 1,000 feet elevation. I was full throttle on race mode. And when I got back home, I only had 2 battery bars missing. I think it's definitely got potential to hit 50 miles if you rode it, you know, a little bit more nicer than I did. It's time to talk about the third bar that they've raised, and that is with tech. And I call it useful tech. There's a handful of scooters out there that have tech, but I never found myself really using it. It was unnecessary. It was cool for a moment, but I'm like, is this actually something I'm gonna use as I'm out on the trail? And the answer to that question is no. This one I do use. Let me come grab you and show you what that is. And I did give you a little hint in the very beginning of the video, but here it is again, in full unadulterated detail. So when you turn it on, there we go. It goes into park mode, and this piece here, this button, is outlined red. At this point, you can't do anything. You got no power. Not even the horn works. This right here is a fingerprint scanner. Touch my thumb, and there we go. And look at this. It works now. Ha! You can actually set a bunch of people's thumbs to it, so if your wife and your kids want to ride your scooter, you can add their thumbprint as well. I haven't had any issues with it. It easily reads as soon as I tap it on there. And that's pretty much all the tech that I wanted to talk about. So this is a short and sweet section. Okay, so there are a few things that I didn't like. And the first thing, are the brakes. And really, I don't hate the brakes. They're just pretty dang touchy. They are disc, and the left side controls the rear, right side the front. So if you're used to scooters where the right side controls the rear, you gotta switch that. You also have regen brakes in the rear. The second thing I didn't like is that I haven't found a way to turn this into a zero start. You do have to kick it to go. But when you do, it takes off pretty good. Okay, just pull up to the intersection. The end of the block is right down there. Let's see if I can top this out before I hit the end. Here we go. Well, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. And then another 100 feet away is the intersection. 31 miles per hour and 3/4 of a block. I'll take that any day of the week. and most weekends. All right, so now it's time to talk about more things that I did like. And one of the first ones is just how light and nimble this scooter is. Only weighs 56 pounds. It can hold 330 pounds. It also has very wide tires. That's gotta be close to 3 inches. Not super tready and knobby, so the ride is pretty quiet. And speaking of a quiet ride, motor noise is pretty much non-existent. Very quiet motor. And then there's a suspension. Front fork, dual coil in the rear. You wouldn't expect much as far as suspension with a $700 scooter, but you can with this. All right, guys, well, there's just a few more things I gotta tell you, and then I'll give you the best outro that you have ever seen in any video on YouTube. Okay, so let's start with the lights. You got a headlight up front, and you turn it off and on by this top button right here. There's turn signals, shows up on the LCD screen, and it beeps, which is delightful. I love when they do that. And the turn signal is more on the side of the scooter rather than in the very back, and it shuts off automatically. I like the design of the grips, half gray, half black. It's textured with some cool designs, wing-tipped as well too, so you have more area to rest your hands on, which is good for longer rides. And it's a pretty clean looking scooter. Just has these 2 brake lines coming up just below the headlight, all internal from that point down to the folding mechanism. And then even down here, they got that wrapped. To fold it, you just lift up and then pull out. Comes back here, and then it locks in by the fin. There we go. And you just carry that by the stem. You do have to put your finger in here to release it, which is a little bit tricky, but can be done with enough practice and patience. No, it's actually not that bad. You got a hard plastic fender. You got 2 eagle eyes in the front of the deck. And speaking of the deck, I actually like the length of that, especially with the stem being straight up. Got a lot of room in the cockpits, got a very comfortable posture. And in the back of that deck, it just has a nice smooth transition to the fin, which is at a good angle. A couple of times on the trail, I was using that and it was pretty comfortable. The side of the deck, you got lights that go back and forth when you're riding. Chase the future, makes you feel special. And then check that cool design out there. Just looks like AC vents in your car. It's the little things in life, you know? And that completes the review, guys. So curious to find out what you guys think. Is this a good value scooter? Like, does the performance justify the price? Are you getting way more than you pay for or way less? I'm curious to find out what you guys think. So let me know in the comments. And if you say that you're not, then I will fight you tooth and nail. No, I won't do that. I'm not trying to sell this, guys, but I'm just trying to be honest with you. But if anybody asks me for the best entry-level scooter for around $500 to $800, this is the one that I would tell them to go for. So if you guys want to check it out, I got the link in the description. And as always, thanks for hopping on here and checking out my videos. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next one.